Hi guys and girls, today I'm going to show you how to tie what we're calling the multi-combi rig. Okay, this is a rig that I tied for using at festival on our recent social. Got me my PB common. Has a multitude of uses. I used it on the new white limited edition monster crab pop-ups, but as you'll see it can be used for bottom baits, wafters, nocturnals, you name it, there's an option for everything. So stay tuned, I'll show you what you need to tie the rig and how to tie it itself. Okay guys, I'll be with you in 2. Okay, so for this rig you're going to need a tail rubber, some shrink tube, micro swivel, bait floss, uncoated braid, some boom material. I'm using the rigmarole Cam H2O, love that stuff. You're going to need a lighter. You're going to need a hook, some putty, pulling tool, scissors, and obviously your chosen bait. Okay, I'm using the new limited edition white monster crab pop-ups. So next up I'll show you how to put this rig together. Okay, one other vital part I should have mentioned, guys, is you're obviously going to need your baiting needle. Okay, I just assume that you're gonna have a baiting needle in your box, but for the purposes of the demonstration I better say you need a bait needle as well, and obviously you're going to need a kettle to steam down your shrink tubing and straighten your boom material. So with that, let's get on with the show. I apologise for the video skills in advance. I'm here doing it on my own. So I'm going to take about 12 inches of my boom material, okay, and all I'm going to do on one end is I'm going to tie a small loop using a figure of 8, which is what we're going to use for attaching to our leg clip system. Okay, you could use it on a helicopter setup or anything like that, but for this we're just going to say we're doing it for a leg clip system. So I just get my puller in there, wet it down and pull it in. Okay, nice and tight. Just ease it up gently, don't go mad with these boom materials, just ease them in, if that makes sense. Gotta wait for the camera to catch up. It doesn't really like me moving too swiftly. Just trim your tag end off, and then you have your loop section nice and snug. So onto that, camera's gone again. Onto that we will feed our tail rubber from the other end, okay, and then that will just ease over the knot to give us our loop for joining. Okay, if we're going onto our lead clip or swivels, whatever we're using. Okay, so that's that side of it already done. Nice and simple. It's a basic, when the camera catches up, a very simple boom system. Okay, so next step, get yourself some uncoated braid, probably take yourself off 4 inches. Okay, 4 inches, fold it in half, and make yourself again another figure of 8 knot. Join it together so it's like that. A bit fiddly, but you'll get there. It's even more fiddly trying to show you it on camera. Okay, so you've made yourself a loop basically. There you go, you've made yourself a very simple circle. Again, trim off the excess. And now you're going to want to get a piece of your shrink tube. Okay, I would go for somewhere about 15-20 mil. And this is where things might get a bit complicated. You might have to replay the video a couple of times, but just slide the shrink tube down your boom material out of the way for a minute. Okay, now some people are going to say, oh, I wouldn't use that knot, I would use this knot, I would do it this way, I would do it that way. This is the way I do it. It's proven to be very successful for me. I have had no issues with it whatsoever. In fact, it has worked extremely well. So this knot has not failed me. Haha, this knot has not failed me. It's not failed me. In fact, it's done the complete opposite. It's held its own, it's done very well, and it just seems to work for the mechanics of it. Okay, so all we're going to do is we're going to take the boom material, put it through the braid, you see that? Okay, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a half blood knot. So the blood knot, half blood knot, is 4 turns. Back through your loop, moisten it, and again just slide it down on itself. Okay, that's all you have to do. Just slide it down. Doesn't take a lot. Just remember to keep it moist. If you don't keep it moist, the friction can weaken the line. Those of you that have used a lot of fluorocarbon will know about that. You have to keep your line moist. And then just trim your tag ends. Alright, so once you've got your tag ends trimmed, you'll have something like that. Oh good, the camera's doing a thing. You'll have something like that. Okay, you're going to have that lovely bit of ridge. So there's part of it. Now all I do is I slide my shrink tube that I put on earlier. Do you remember that shrink tube? Slide it over the knot. Okay, and obviously then we'll steam that down shortly. Okay, but for the time being, that's what we've got. Now this is where it gets interesting. So we're going to take our braid, our loop of braid, we're going to slide on the shrink tube. Okay, now we're going to slide our hook onto this braid loop. If you're struggling to get it through the eye of the hook, you can use a bit of the bait floss. Next we're going to put on our micro ring swivel. Okay, and then all we're going to do is we're going to pop our hook point back through the loop. So that's creating a D section, as you can see. Okay, you should be able to see that. That's created a D section. Well, there's not a lot of difference there really, is in the multi-rig. Well, here's the thing, we're going to slip that. We're going to slip the heat shrink back on, okay? So I've now got my D made up there, okay? And we're just going to now fire up the kettle, and we're just going to steam these down, and you'll see what happens, okay? Okay, so we've got our kettle. So first of all, we're going to steam the piece of shrink tube that covers our knot. Remember that one? So we're just going to steam that one down. Probably can't see that. I'll move the bit back there a bit. There you go. So we're just going to steam that one down. Now we're going to steam down the shrink tube that's over the end of our hook. So we just steam that one down. I like to just give it a little bit of a tug as well, because that puts a bit of a kicker on it. There you go, that's got a bit of a kicker on it now. You see that? Okay. Now at the same time I'm just going to steam my boom down. Get my boom nice and straight. Mind your fingers when you're doing this, obviously guys. You do not want to give yourself any nasty burns on the bank. Lovely. There we go. So what's the difference about this? Well, as you can see, so it's lovely and straight. You have that lovely free movement from the braid. Okay, we know that. Now, you could fish it with a small D, as you can see there, okay? But the beauty of this is it's so adjustable. I can slide that through now, through that shrink tube, and fish a large D when my camera picks it up. So now I could fish a large D if I want to, okay? If my hook, the point of my hook gets turned after catching a fish or getting caught on a bit of chod or whatever, I can literally slip that D off like so, slide the hook off, put a new piece of shrink tube on, new hook, and I'm fishing again within a couple of minutes, if that. It's nice and simple. Hook, swivel back on, hook through the braid, and adjust it up, and there you go, you're back fishing again already. You know, it's super secure. You know, oh well, what if it slides down? Well, if it slides down, that's great. All you're doing is showing off, you know, presenting your bait, but the hook is not changed. You're just you're just altering the depth that you present the bait. But it's all fully adjustable. It works great with pop-ups, wafters. Again, for a pop-up, little tiny bit of putty, and I like to just put that just behind that shrink tube on the knot. remember that shrink tube we put on the knot? So I put that just behind there, just to look pretty. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to install one of the white limited edition monster crab wafters on there a second. So we take our bait floss, baiting needle, and obviously the white pop-up. My goodness, they do smell strong. They really do smell strong. All we're doing is we're just going to run our bait floss through the micro swivel, hook it on over the bait needle. I like to pull mine down just so the barrel of the swivel is inside of my pop-up. I'm not sure whether the camera is going to pick that up. Come on, camera. Okay, and then quite simply trim off some of the excess, have a lighter, blow it down, and there you have it. It's as simple as that. Want to see how it looks? Stay tuned and we'll drop it in the tank. Okay, so we've got the tank. For the purposes of the demonstration, I have put a quick release swivel on the back just to pin it down, just hold it down. So what we're going to do is just drop that in the water, and there you go. Perfect presentation. If I just move the chair out of the way, you can see that it's sitting flat hard to the bottom of the tank. It's now just sat there perfectly. As you can see, doesn't matter how many times it gets bobbed around by nuisance fish, knocked around by any liners or nuisance fish knocking it around. As you can see, it will always reset itself perfectly. So there it is in a nutshell. Nice, fairly simple rig to tie once you've got all the bits of materials together. Super effective. It helped me get my PB common. As you can see, no matter how many times I knock it around, twist it around, it perfectly resets itself and is presented great, ready for when that possible new PB comes along. Thanks for watching, guys, and be sure to check out our other videos.